So excited about this interview. A Colorado man came very close to picking up an Oscar last month for his work on the short film Anuja. It tells the story of young sisters working in a garment factory in New Delhi. Here's a peek.
तू तो समझदार है ना? है कि नहीं?
सिक्योरिटी!
The color, the energies. You are a talent, my friend. We're here with director of Anuja, Adam Graves, and you're going to talk about this because your story is really interesting. You see this movie, your first thing that you've ever done, a short film that is nominated for an Oscar. This is your first kind of foray into anything like this. How did you even start?
Well, you know, I have a background in South Asian studies, and my wife is of South Asian descent. So we thought, well, if we're going to, it takes a lot to make a movie. It's a big investment in terms of time and energy and resources. We figure if we're, lucky enough to make one, let's try to use it as a way to shed light on an important issue. And so we'd long been concerned about child labor, but as we dug into it more, we realized and we discovered some pretty startling statistics. 1 out of every 10 kids globally is engaged in child labor. That's not about India, that's a global statistic, 160 million, so that's roughly half the population of the United States, to put that in perspective. So, honestly, I set out to make a film that's both entertaining and engaging, and that's kind of a work of art. It's a coming-of-age story that celebrates the relationship between these two sisters and their bond. But we figure, it's set within the context of some really kind of serious issues.
So talk to us about the process when you put a film together. I mean, you've got cinematographers and you've got people who go out and set the scene and casting directors, and you and your wife essentially did all of this. How did you do it?
With a lot of help from friends, to be honest, and circles of friends. Actually, I was thinking about this. One of my colleagues at MSU Denver, where I teach in the philosophy department, Jim Aubrey, happened to know a Bollywood star, a guy who Nagesh Bosley, who has a really successful career and has been in films like Hotel Mumbai, so a couple English language films as well. And he put me in touch with Nagesh. So that was one piece of the puzzle. And then I just, I've lived off and on in India, so I had a lot of friends there. A couple of them were in the film industry. And it was kind of a complex web of growing circles of friends, So we just found a lot of like-minded people. Eventually, we worked with some nonprofits that deal with children who come from a background of child labor. And we knew from the beginning that we, if at all possible, we try to, cast the film directly from the community most affected by child labor. So one of those partnering organizations, the Salam Balik Trust, runs a group of orphanages in Delhi. And we wound up casting in the lead role a girl, Sajda Patan, who is a resident of one of their homes, a home that basically provides a shelter for girls who were previously living on the streets.
What an incredible experience for her.
Yeah. And she was at the Oscars.
That's amazing, and that's what I want to get to, because when the Academy comes a call-in, what is your response to that? Are you like, is this for real?
Yeah, well, it was kind of a slow process, but when we set out to make the movie, it's a short film. It's hard. You don't know if anybody's going to see it. You hope maybe you'll get into a couple film festivals. You hope your mother-in-law will watch it and like it. That sort of thing.
Right.
But we wound up getting into a couple really great festivals, and then we won the top prize at Holly Shorts, which is like one of the more prestigious short film festivals in Hollywood that takes place at the Chinese Theater. And after that award qualified us to be for the Oscars. So that means that we were put into a pool. I think tens of thousands of short films are made every year, but this put us in a pool of
Wow.
It's in fact it's pretty disheartening when you start submitting to film festivals and you hear back that Sundance gets over 10,000 short film submissions every year, and you're like, oh boy, this is really as a uphill battle. But that qualifying award kind of narrows it down to about 180 films. And then we got lucky and we were shortlisted, and then things just kind of went from there. We also had a lot of great help. Along the way, some really kind of significant, important, and tenacious people kind of came on board the film. People like Mindy Kaling signed on. and Priyanka Chopra Jonas as kind of producers and kind of
That's
helping to usher the
insane.
film. Yeah, and then Netflix picked it up, so those things helped, get us some attention.
I would think so. But we've got like less than 30 seconds, but you have to speak to this because I think it shows your character. You brought two of the actresses with you to the Oscars to give them that experience. What was that like?
Oh, that was definitely the highlight. Having them in Hollywood, in LA, there for the Oscars, it made the event so special. So it was my wife and I and the two girls kind of seated towards the front, amongst all these stars. I think the whole experience was probably, for me, I was like kind of, shell-shocked. I think
Yep.
they were just like, this is strange and interesting, but it was great. It was great fun.
So cool. Adam Graves, thank you for being here. You'll have to come back and tell us what's next because I know it doesn't end here. Started with Anuja, there's going to be much more
I'd love
ahead.
to do that. Thank you so
And
much.